Creating and maintaining an inclusive classroom community. What is an inclusive classroom? Discussions about inclusive classrooms start with a frame of mind and a deep-seated understanding that inclusion is at the core of an educational journey. All members of an inclusive classroom should be provided access to an educational environment where they can freely learn, listen, and speak. Inclusive environments are welcoming to everyone who enter, including the students, teaching assistants, faculty member, guest speakers, and even the AV technicians who come in to set up or fix our technology. As faculty, we need to ensure that our learning objectives, teaching methods, resources from text to videos, and our assessments are all universally designed with the diversity of our learners in mind. Inclusive classrooms also require faculty to educate ourselves on the classroom biases reported by the students who feel marginalized on our particular campus. This includes microaggressions, verbal or behavioral indignities, which communicate antagonism, racial or ethnic slights, or derogatory language, whether intentional or unintentional. We must remember that a learning environment which a student perceives as hostile can dramatically affect their ability to learn and thrive on campus. As faculty, we must commit to creating and maintaining inclusive classrooms. Number 1, listening deeply when others speak, seeking first to understand and only then to be understood. Number 2, identifying needed improvements in our teaching, asking for regular feedback from students so that we can grow as educators. Number 3, respecting silence, making sure to leave time in class for you and your students to reflect on new ideas without immediately filling the space with words. Number 4, recognizing the humanity in others and expecting that in return from our students. We all get sick, we all have competing responsibilities, and we all have feelings. Number 5, speaking only your truth. There is a difference between speaking your truth and speaking the truth. And this is a lesson for us to teach our students. We should replace our advice for others with asking honest questions of others. Tense interactions and diverse opinions are part of an inclusive learning environment. It's important to think about why so many of us are uncomfortable in the presence of a person expressing a high level of emotional intensity in a classroom setting. As faculty, we want our students to be passionate and engaged. So what is it that scares us? That's a question we each need to ask ourselves. When we hear a student say something that may be hurtful or discriminatory to a peer, to us, or about a specific group of people, what is our reaction? Leading an inclusive classroom means that we have thought through some possible classroom scenarios and have made a plan to interrupt bias when it arises. How can we interrupt bias? Quickly pause the conversation after you have heard a biased, disturbing, or offensive comment from a student with, "Wait a second," or "Excuse me," to let the speaker know that you're interested in learning more about something they just said. Ask the speakers for clarification with, "What I hear you saying is," to let the speaker know what you think you heard them say. Listen carefully to their response in an engaged manner, speaking with confidence, describing your objection to what they said. Share your learning or your experiences. People are often moved to consider other perspectives when they hear the stories of others. And follow up with the student or group who was offended. Reach out privately following class, asking how they feel about the interaction and how it was handled. Offer the opportunity for further follow-up. As faculty, we need to connect both with the person who was offended and with the person who was offensive. We should also learn some techniques to incorporate in our classes following a hot moment, such as breaking students into small groups, assigning quick 2-minute writing exercises, or holding a follow-up discussion where we might ask our students to name and frame what they believe occurred. Most importantly, we need to remember to stay in charge, respond confidently and quickly to language or behavior that we or others find offensive. And as faculty, be willing to shift from our scheduled teaching plan for the sake of learning.